So I would say, there are lines that cannot be crossed, and teenagers will cross them, right? And so, they'll say things that are mean or unfair or rude. And I think that's a really good time for the adult to say, like, that's out of line. If you have feedback from me, I'm interested, but you can't talk to me that way. Like, I think that that's essential. And I think teenagers are looking for that. They're waiting for that. They expect it. And it's frightening for them if it doesn't come. Then there's feedback from teenagers about our shortcomings. And this starts to come fast and furious, especially around 14. It does. And it doesn't feel great. Okay, but here's again, I feel like this is my whole job. Like, I live in the space between teenagers and parents. I'm on no one's team. I'm in the space between. Here's the view from the teenager. All of a sudden, they're like, okay, wait a minute. You guys are my only parent, or you are my only parent? Like, this is the hand I'm dealt, and I can see all of your shortcomings, which, of course, they can. They have phenomenal acuity for the shortcomings of adults. Is there anything I can do to improve you? Well, what if I tell you all of the ways I wish you were better? So then maybe my parenting hand could be improved before I am out of this house. Okay, so think about it that way. And here's what I will tell you. I am a vastly better person for parenting teenagers. If you can tolerate their feedback, and if it's within the lines, doesn't mean it's going to be nice or gentle, but if it's not over the line, having a teenager can make you a much, much better person. And so I think that's a way to take it in. The last thing I will say, no one should go into parenting a teenager having their self-esteem hinge on how their teenager is treating them. It's easy with little kids. They like us. They want to come to the grocery store with us. They're so excited when we come home, right?
Totally. I was just saying that to my husband this morning. We just had one of our kids unexpectedly living with us for 5 months. And she's a grown adult. And so it was almost like this weird thing of having a teenager back in the house. She kind of wanted us to treat her like a teenager, but then she's also a grown adult and expected us to treat her that way. And I was like, oh man, like, this is so nice with our grandkids who are 9 and 12 and they still think we walk on water. Like, I remembered that shift of when they love you no matter what to when they really are picking you apart.
So I would say part of how you withstand that is, I love my work. I have always taken tremendous pleasure in my work. I enjoy a lot of positive feedback about my work, right? Like that's helped me. People need their clubs, their hobbies, their activities, their girlfriends, their boyfriends.
Yeah.
The people who love on them, because your teenager is not going to be a reliable source of self-esteem.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful.
And you got to get there.
Yeah, and I think that it's so interesting because I was not a helicopter parent, but I was a hippie attachment mama parent. And I put so much of myself into raising my kids in a certain way in order to create a certain outcome, if you will, that was in alignment with reinforcing my worldview. That was part of my self-esteem. And it was it's been a lesson of evolving as a parent, because you're still parenting grown kids, to really now as a women's health physician working with so many mamas, to really encourage mamas to not base their self-esteem on their children's outcomes or how their children succeed in the world or don't succeed at any given time, or like, you can't make your kids be who you want them to be. I feel like our job as a parent is almost more to show up as a guide for who they actually are. And it's really been a big shift for me. I don't know what you think of all that.
Well, there's a saying in schools, right? That adults are shepherds, not engineers. And I think that's a good saying. Yeah.
It's a great saying.